All right.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Palate Reset. And I'm super excited. We have an awesome guest speaker today. And her name is Dr. Naa Crump. She is my chiropractor. And I absolutely love her. And I really wanted us to talk today about next level nutrition. So, as you transition off of the palate reset and move back into regular eating, we definitely want you all to think about some things from a different perspective, from a chiropractic perspective, because oftentimes we don't even have that consideration when we're even, thinking about a physician or someone that can support us with our wellness. So I wanted Dr. Crump to jump on here with me and tell you a little bit about who she is, what she does, and then some of the things that we're doing that's actually a little bit different. So while I am getting chiropractic services from her in regards to bone health and just overall spinal health and nutrition, a lot of folks don't think about chiropractic in that. And so she's going to share some of the things that she offers, some of the services that she offers, something for you to consider as you move back into, regular eating and just thinking about the different pieces of your wellness. So with that said, welcome, Dr. Crump.
I'm so glad we're finally able to do this.
I am too. Look, this isn't going to be the last time, but this is the first time.
We have got so much to talk about. So, hey, welcome everybody. Like you said, Dr. Crump, my practice is at the corner of Windy Hill and Ferry in Marietta, Georgia. Been here for a while. I am an alumni from Life University. So I'm very happy to share today with Chef Bee here. And I'm very, very grateful that we get this opportunity to do that. Right?
Yes.
All right. So today's format, we're not really doing a presentation of some sort. We're just going to be chatting and talking about a few things that will be absolutely essential in what we need to be doing as a comprehensive healthcare, right?
Yep.
So there's going to be a few facts, most of which you already know, but I want to hopefully be the person who facilitates that connection of those dots so that we can all fully understand and know why we're doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Okay. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I hope y'all out there who are listening.
Yeah. All right. So I put some few pointers together. The first thing I want to emphasize is the fact that we as humans are meant to be hunter-gatherers, right? It is super important to acknowledge that as a basic fact in how you eat, how you exercise, how you sleep, meaning that as a hunter-gatherer, you are not being fed a full meal 3 times a day, every single day, to the full capacity of your stomach's ability to take food, okay? In all of that is Mother Nature's way of making sure that we have time for the stomach to stay fallow, digest what we have, and at the end of the day, go back to eating again and getting nourishment that way. Plus, we are not sitting around messing with the type of food because we are gathering what we get and eating what we get. And hopefully we get more calories, as we go along and not be starving for a long time. So basically that's the premise of what we are supposed to be like. And that also dictates what we're eating and what type of thing a hunter-gatherer will find. You're not going to find McDonald's in a nice little wrap with a Happy Meal attached to it in the middle of the forest somewhere. So that's why I keep saying, that should influence what you're eating, how you're doing it, all of that. How you're sleeping will be, okay, well, when the sun is up, you're up eating. When the sun is down, you're not really eating throughout the night because you're just trying to hide away from whatever the predators may be. Either way, the whole concept is just guide your life around that, and you'll probably get to do the best of what your body needs, really. Now, what we need to consider with all of that is the type of food we're eating. Okay, the body was designed to then, whenever you get some kill or food, you should be able to catch something, eat that, get berries, get fruit, and then you store calories for when you don't have them. So your body will go for days or maybe even, a couple of days or, a couple of hours without eating. And that's how the whole point was that's how we're designed. Now, unfortunately, we're not really doing that. Okay, we have not only changed the diet, but we have also added things that the body cannot even recognize. I'll give you two examples. We have, people get sweet and low. Okay, now they're just trying to replace the sugar, in their diet. Right? That's why something says sugar free. And I can respectfully say, if you're diabetic and you're trying to not be, bringing your sugar up, that might be an option for you. But there are healthier ways to do that. That's all I'm saying. My point being, if you put sweet and low on the ground where there are ants, they will literally go around that thing and not even taste it. And
really? Wow.
Ants are not as smart as humans, and they won't be eat that because it's toxic to them. We are smart enough to know that we can put it in our mouths, or think that we can put it in our mouths, but your body does not recognize that as food. Wow. These are some of the whole, it's very easy for your body to store toxins in your fat cells because it's easy to get to. And because of that, we have to get to the point where we are giving our bodies what it recognizes as food and what it needs as nourishment. One other thing is high corn fructose syrup. There was a study that was done by that was presented at 2013, I believe, Canadian Association of Neurosciences did a conference, and one named Dr. Lurie, I think is his name. He's an associate professor for neurosciences. He went in and presented this paper that said that people who are eating high corn fructose syrup, for example, are literally getting addicted to it just like they would have to other drugs, one. And then two, it produces the same kind of behaviors in rats and in the human subjects as drugs like cocaine does. Okay, let that sink in. Yeah. Okay, now that simply means we are not supposed to be doing all of this.
That's right.
Okay. Now, I'm sure you all knew that, and we all knew that. We are not supposed to be eating all this high corn fructose syrup or whatever else. But the point I'm making is that it is very addictive. Your body gets used to eating that. And when it comes time and you have the knowledge, like you are doing with Chef Bee, to kick those out of your diet and clean it up and all of that, you're not just going to do that today and tomorrow that addiction is gone. Okay? This is the reason why this palate reset is so important. Okay. Now, what that means is, and I will let Chef B go into what the processes are for the palate reset program that she's on. And for those of you who are already there, you know what it is. But my point is that if you find a need, and I hope you do, to take these things that are foreign out of our diet and get on the straight and narrow and eat decently. I'm not saying, overkill, just eat decently. You find a need to continue to be eating things that you thought were not good for you. That's the reason why you say, oh, one more bite, and then you're finishing that whole cookie. Because it is addictive, one. Two, the fact that you really have to reset your palate around these things so that you don't keep craving them once you don't give it to your body.
Yep.
Right. So that said, do you want to talk about the palate reset, or should I continue?
Yeah, you should continue. What I want you to share with them is some of the things that you've been talking to me about when we get adjusted. So you guys, one of the things that I do is I actually go to Dr. Crump weekly. This summer, I actually had an injury, and I knew that I needed to get my body back into alignment. And what happens when you have an injury, particularly if you're not strengthening the muscles around whatever the injury is, depending on what the injury is, your body just starts to overcompensate, and you don't realize it, but you start walking different, you start moving different. And so I knew that I needed to start working with her. I was just procrastinating. So she did a comprehensive sort of assessment to see where my spine was, what was going on in my body, and then prescribed, several days a week of chiropractic adjustment work. And so now we're down to weekly. But one of the things that she noticed is that, like, when she's adjusting me, she's like, you're dehydrated. So, and I'm like, really? I drink a lot of water. So I want you to tell them a little bit about that piece because, mind you, I am hydrating. I'm drinking water. But she says, no, I want you to consider this kind of hydration. So tell them about that piece and how it impacts bone health and how it also impacts you from a nutrition standpoint.
Okay. What on that day when we're talking about it, if you've done this work for a while, you know who is healthy and who is not as healthy. You know who is drinking water and who is not. The point is, there are times that you need water, and there are times that you actually need some electrolytes in that water, or what we would call living water, as the Chef B would always say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the point is, she was drinking water, but the crispness, how crisp her spine sounds when I'm doing an adjustment, and how they are moving. Some people's spines literally push against you. That's how dehydrated they are. And so the cartilage literally pushes against your hands when you're trying to push, and that's against people who are hydrated and they have great bone density and bone, nutrition. And it sounds different. It's a different field. You can ask an osteopath or a chiropractor and they'll tell you. So that's what I was feeling there. And the point was that she was drinking water, but we needed to get some electrolytes in there, supportive nutrients, which I like to call essential for your bones, right? And so that said, this is where it becomes important. You could do all the best nutrition you want, and you could drink all the water you want, but if your body is not accepting that and absorbing that, we've got some issues there. Okay. The big picture is that, yes, you'll be doing the right things about it, but here's what happens. Your brain literally sits here in the skull. The creator found it necessary to protect it in this encasement because, we keep falling around and doing weird stuff that we shouldn't be doing, which ends you up in my office. But, it will sit here. The brain literally will become your spinal cord. It will go through all of these bones, which again is protected by all of these, and it's in segments, so you can move around and do your dancing and whatever else you do. But the point is that these two would form your nervous system. This spinal cord here is an extension of your brain, right? Going through your back. So on the sides comes your spinal nerves. And if these nerves are doing well, nothing should interfere with them, right? Unfortunately, we can't guarantee that all the time. It has to be in a particular position, which is this way, and a little curvature here. It has to be in an optimal position. This is some of the things I was checking in Dr. Chef B. Here's what happens. The nerves here control everything else. So your brain will control everything else through these telephone wires, which is your nerves, right? So as we do all the right things, if there are interferences going on, let's say the nerves here goes into the lungs, your stomach, your gut, all of that. If these nerves are not functioning at 100%, there's no way those areas are doing the same because the intelligence is here. This is the computer working all of that. So your monitor could do all it wants. If this is not working, that guy is not going to be working well, right? So as you do the right things, we are hopeful, or some of us chance with the idea that these nerves are working well, and so the stomach will do all the absorption it needs. Unfortunately, some of the time it's not. Half the time, people see us because they think they have back pain, but they're actually having nerve interferences to something like kidneys and stuff like that, dehydration and stuff like that. So essentially, that's what it comes to, is making sure that while you're doing the good things, these guys are in the optimal position, and they are actually helping you to do whatever absorption you're supposed to be having, or helping your body to use that nutrient that you just put in. Okay.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that because I think there's so many different pieces to this. So from an enzymatic standpoint, we know that people aren't necessarily eating a lot of foods that have enzymes.
Yeah.
And during this palate reset, we really pushed raw foods, right? Because we want to make sure that people are having live foods that are going to be digestible so that they can access those nutrients. Right. And I never considered before that from a spinal adjustment standpoint, that when your body is adjusted properly, that's another way that your body can receive nutrients. I always thought it was, you need enzymes to help you to facilitate that. But this is very new for me, hearing you say that you need, your body needs to be positioned a certain way in order for you to access enzymes. Or nutrients. I didn't
Right.
even know that.
Right. Because what you're doing is, bypassing the biggest control system of your body, which is your nervous system. If these nerves are working well, wherever the nerve goes to has to work well, unless you put a blunt force or, a trauma to it. And most of us don't have that. What I am trying to say is you give your body a better chance of communicating well, absorbing well, getting rid of toxins. If you drank water and it has some toxins in there, you hope your brain detects that. It will tell your stomach to either eject that, and then that's why if two people get drunk, one of them is by the side of the road throwing up, they are the healthier of the two. The guy who's holding his drink is actually ingesting the toxins, and the body is not healthy enough to tell the body to throw it out.
Wow.
This right there is
deep.
the difference between the people who are doing, the body is doing the right thing and the other one who is not. Yeah, you can hold your liquor or so you say, but what you're doing is actually being able to keep it down because your body is not ejecting those toxins.
Right. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from that standpoint, when we talked about the hydration using living waters, could you give some examples of some living waters that would be crucial because I sent an email out with this. I send that out so that people can really know a little bit more about being underhydrated. But from a chiropractic standpoint, what are some foods that you would recommend that's really good for bone health and just really kind of having that buoyancy that you're talking about in the bones for hydration?
Okay, so I get this question quite a bit. Should I take calcium? Well, your body might not be absorbing that calcium. In fact, I can almost bet that if you're taking like any kind of calcium in the market, it's not doing that. The reason why doing, the juicing or getting some living water in you is because your body knows those nutrients in the forms that they are in. Remember, we're supposed to be hunter-gatherers.
Right.
Our bodies know what an apple is or whatever fruit or whatever, carrot, whatever, is as against knowing them in a tablet. They know them more in that form. So getting that nutrition in is very easy for the body to absorb if all things are working well. An example would be, for me, I like cucumbers, I like watermelon, I like apples. These three together, I can put in any kind of combination and I'm good. Here's the fact though, if you're going to be juicing like a watermelon, we are used to taking the rind out and then using only the sugary part, which is nice, good to know, but no. The most of your electrolytes are actually in the whitish greenish part of that watermelon. In fact, if we had our way, we wouldn't take the skin off because that's where all the chlorophyll from the sun went to. All right. The enzymes that Shabib is talking about, those tend to stay on the outside of most fruits and vegetables. Okay. But we can't trust ourselves because we put all these pesticides and stuff in there. So, let's take that skin off. Right.
Right.
And then right beneath the skin, just beneath the skin is some of the whitish greenish part. You want that in the watermelon when you juice it. Right. So you can get some electrolytes from that, some chlorophyll from that, whatever is left of it. And that way you are nourishing your body properly like you should, first of all. And then second, it won't be so sugary. So if you have too much sugar in your system, you don't want that either. So that kind of helps to tame and neutralize all of the sugars that there is, plus nourishes you very well. Right. And so that's one, way of doing that. Sometimes I like the cucumbers because it's just full of water, and the water in the right way. It's not super sweet. It has all the minerals in there. If you get the right ones, you'll be surprised how nourishing it can be for you. Yeah. Carrot juice, I'm telling you, that thing is unbelievably nourishing one, but also very healing. I have a whole colleague who went on carrot juicing for days and days and days, and her cancer test literally changed a great deal. Yep. I'm not saying you are curing it with it, but you definitely give yourself a better chance of being in an alkaline state. And because of that, your body then is able to fight it. Remember that they have, well, we're going to go down a rabbit hole of cancer, but there's sugars, there's meat, and there's, different things that continue to grow those cells. Just like if you have candida, you're craving sugars, but you don't know why. Reason why is because candida, as an organism, feeds on sugar to survive. So you think you're having cravings. No, you're actually feeding those guys in your gut. That's what that is. So much the same way, think about it in the lines of cancer. It has to get what it needs to grow. And if you take some of these out, like dairy, stuff like that, then you decrease the chances of them surviving and thriving in your body. And that's what the difference is.
Wow. So what about celery? I'm just trying to think of the fruits and vegetables that are very, that have high water content. So you said cucumber, carrots, celery, I would think.
People can't stand cabbage and stuff like that. So of course, that's why we saute those suckers. But for the most part, the celery is a great one. I have come to find out that, during the pandemic, I developed a new sense of liking stuff like leeks, Brussels sprouts together with broccoli is like 10 times more to even 100-fold more powerful than doing it by itself.
Definitely.
So, in combination, you can get some fruits together. Some people are brave enough to do, I like to do parsley. I don't like parsley, but parsley has some of the best nutrition. So what I do is parsley and green grapes together. And then I'll throw in a Granny Smith just to juice up, and then I try to do those in a smoothie form so that I can get some fiber with that. But juice in itself is great. And so, celery, cucumbers, watermelon, you have a lot of family in the cucumber family, the melons of all kinds.
Yes.
If you can.
Cantaloupe, honeydew, all of those. Yeah.
On those, and then that is very nourishing for your body. First of all, it's primary. It's very easy for your body to recognize it. It can go into your system easier, it gets absorbed better, and then you can obviously nourish your bones and your whole health, your cells with that, and that becomes very important.
So I'm also wondering, in terms of, because I'm sure someone is thinking out there, well, how much of this should I be drinking every day? 1 glass? Should you drink it just as much as you drink water? What would you recommend as it relates to that?
Okay, so depending on your body weight, you should take in a certain amount of hydration. 10% of your body weight is usually a decent gauge for how much fluid you need. Because remember, your kidneys have to filter all day, right? A certain amount all day, a certain amount of fluid all day. If you don't have that much fluid for it to do that, it will keep recycling the same things over and over again. That in itself is not the healthiest thing you can do. But so 10% of your body weight is how much fluid you should be getting. You don't want to do a juice that has, or any kind of, living water that has so much content of sugar content. So I would say, if you're going to drink, let's say you weigh 100 pounds, right? You need about at least 10 pounds to be water that you're drinking. If you're able to do it, push it a little bit higher, 10 to 15, thereabout. In that sense, I would say 1 pot, like I would do, if we have to drink in that 10 pounds, let's say 10 glasses, I would like for 1, 2, or 3 of those to be some form of living water, and then the rest of it is just regular water, clean water.
All right, so let's break it down, because one of the things that we talk to people about on the Palate Reset is we use that example of 100, and let's say you're 100 pounds. So you drink half your body weight in ounces of water. Right? So for those of you who are listening, always, always, always daily, right? That's what we're striving for, half your body weight in ounces of water. So now we're taking it yet another level for nutrition. Half your body weight in ounces of water, so we have 50 ounces. So let's break down that 50 ounces. Okay. So Dr. Crump, you're saying maybe about 10 ounces of regular water, and then the other 40 ounces. Okay, well, we have it reversed.
I'll have it the other way around.
Okay, so 40 ounces of maybe alkaline spring water, that kind of water.
I would say between 30 ounces of water and 20 of any kind of living water.
Got it.
Now, you always have to make sure that water is the biggest part of all of this.
Yes.
So the reason why I changed that from, 10 or 15 ounces, and earlier on I was talking in pounds for no reason at all, forget that. So the reason why I changed that a little bit is because sometimes that ratio, well, most of the time, that ratio has to change depending on what you're trying to do.
Right.
Okay? Always the aim is kept here, right? So if someone is not drinking a lot, we want to get them drinking water. Right. We're not going to put all of the sugars in there, right, so that they are not having enough water to dilute it, to get the body to do what it needs to do with it. If people are already drinking lots of water like Chef B was, then it's easy to push this living water in there. So that's the reason why there should be monitoring of these.
Right.
Okay. You don't have to check into your primary care to do that, but we at least would know how you're absorbing when we do all these tests periodically, or doing whatever we did to determine that you needed it in the first place. Then when we come back to it, we would know, okay, things are changing. There's a reason why my patients get so surprised. They lay on that table and I'm like, oh, someone is drinking their water. They're like, how'd you know? Well, you do not only feel differently, you are being different.
Yeah.
You're being different.
Your bones start feeling
yes,
different.
ma'am.
It's so interesting, right? When you talk about this. So there's like a lightness, like when you hydrate for like a good week, right? We're gonna do a hydration challenge. That's what we want.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? You hydrate real right for like a good week, and you're real intentional about it. It's like you just feel like good. Your head is light. There's no headaches. It's just ooh. Now you go to the bathroom quite a bit,
and that's
you're supposed to. You're supposed to. It's like that's what you're supposed to do.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
That's a good thing because there are many number of people who do not put out as much as they should. Not only because they are not drinking enough, but also because their body is not able to do that because of some condition or the other with the kidneys.
Yes. So excellent. So that's a really good gauge. We said if you have 50 ounces of water that you're drinking, maybe about 30 ounces we're drinking water, and about 20 ounces we're drinking living water.
Right.
So that feels good. Yep.
Yeah. And you're not going to be doing this every day of the week. Knowing us, we'll start, twice or 3 times a week, and that's decent. The more you get used to it. At this point, I don't even want to really taste the sugar part of the juicing. I just want some. I feel the cucumbers, and it's so refreshing that way. And so in that sense, you really could do it all week if you're doing something as that. I put it. Yeah. Wonderful. So I wanted to get back to what we were talking about earlier with the spine, right?
Yes. So
part of your nervous system is called your autonomic nervous system. That's what your body does without you thinking about it, right? So your kidneys are filtering water right now. How's that going? You won't know because it does that automatically. Now, we have that part of the nervous system that is called your parasympathetics. It's there for calming you down. It's responsible for your rest and digest. Okay. If that parasympathetics it's not doing well, you could do what you want. It won't be supported because that's a part of the computer system that controls your resting and digestion. So those two can be found at the very top here of your spine and at the very bottom of your spine in your sacrum area. Sometimes new people who have never been adjusted will come in, they get adjusted, I adjust the sacrum because they needed it. And they'll say, man, I slept so deep today. And especially if it's their first time. And it's no surprise to me at all. It happens all the time. It doesn't happen as much in adults as it does in kids because their bodies are new, their reflexes are just perfect. When I get very small people or mothers who are my patients who have the babies, especially if the birth is traumatic and they feel like there was a lot of stress, well, we want the baby out, so go ahead and get the baby out. When you finish, we can check. Sometimes you notice the difference between the two folds down here. One is lower than the other. You can tell that's because the spine is rotated a little bit. The beautiful part about this is that when it comes time for me to take care of this, all it takes is a little force right there to push that thing up, because the baby's body is, again, so new.
Right.
And it's so responsive, right? So what you're going to do here is this. The lower back here, once we adjust the spine a little bit here, they'll be like, the baby slept for so long. I was like wondering why. Well, the rest and digest has just been kicked in, right? So here's what happens. If you ever see, there's a video of a doctor who keeps, they call him the miracle doctor. He's making the baby stop crying. You hold the babies at this angle, like a 45-degree angle, and do this number and rock the babies. And all of a sudden they stop crying. Well, he just activated their rest and digest.
Wow.
He just activated their parasympathetics. And he's going around the world doing this, and babies would literally be quiet in a few minutes. Now, let's unpack that. He just activated a part of your body that calms you down so that you can rest and you can digest what you have in your stomach, right? And if we could take a cue from these new guys, we would know that your adjustments are just as important for the same things. So for your resting, digesting, doing all the good things will be good. But if the body doesn't recognize this and use it, then we don't have a chance with that. You just have a very, very expensive pee coming out of your body.
Right.
Because you got all these supplements and the good nutrition in, but your body is not really.
It's not taking
good care of.
Wow. So here's the other thing that I wanted us to spend some time on. So the other piece of this, so guys, one of the things I want you to think about is there are all these tools, right? So cleansing is a tool for wellness. Meditation is a tool for wellness. Getting your rest is a tool for wellness. Doing IV treatments, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a tool for wellness. Chiropractic services is a tool for wellness. But then also on a deeper level, you also need to know what foods are causing sensitivities and allergies to the body, which foods are creating inflammation. And so you might think that the foods that you're eating are perfectly fine because they're perfectly fine foods, vegetables, fruits, right? All of the things we've been talking about. However, for your body, for your computer, for your machine, those foods may not be for you. We always say bio-individuality. We also say one person's food is the next person's poison. And so one of the things that I've also done with Dr. Crump is a test, like an allergy test. So I want you to tell them a little bit more about this test because it's very telling and it really gives you a full picture of what's going on in the body and things that you need to work on. So Dr. Crump.
Very good. So we have this test, we call it the bioenergetic testing. So, when you take an MRI, I'm not going to be technical with this. The reason why you get those images is because it's recording the energies that gets thrown up by the machine. Same thing is with energetic testing of any kind. Now, one of the things that you have to understand is that this right here is it's just a swab, okay? Mm-hmm. This test comes with a swab and a little bag in there with, of course, an intake form. But what we are trying to do is measure the energy that your hair and saliva puts out, or measure what sensitivity levels will be irritating to these samples. So basically, you take this swab, your mouth for 30 seconds, stick it back in this thing, stick it in here, give us a little bit of hair, and then they'll go to the testing site and then check what you're sensitive to. It will come back with all kinds of information, like what kind of bacteria you are dealing with, viruses, what you are sensitive to, separate from what you are allergic to. Most of the time, allergies, we are just looking for something that gives you an obvious reaction, anaphylactic shock or hives or, rash. Some of the time, these sensitivities do not give you any of those. It just gives you inflammation, irritation of some sort. The test would also come back with environmental toxins that you have in your system. It will come back with hormonal levels, which is very crucial in, people who are on the journey to lose weight or whatever, but also staying sane, period. And it will come back with nutritional imbalances as well, and a few things in there. Now, all of that comprehensively is crucial for me in practice because it takes out the guesswork for me. Okay. It helps to hone in on what is irritating to you, what your body cannot stand, what you already have going on. And so with that said, they would also test your samples against whichever supplement or homeopathic remedies that we need to give you to get rid of those bacteria or virus or fungus, whatever you get going on, parasites, or, when nutritionally we should be bringing you up to and all of that. This has been very vital for people who are battling different things that we cannot understand. We're like, well, everything seems to check out. Why are you in such pain? What's going on with your gut? Well, there it is. The results come in. I get to sit with these people and talk about it, and the lights just keep going off because they understand the connection there, the feeling that they are having, whatever symptoms that they are having. It's not a catch-all, but it's very, very precise to you. So in my case, when I did this test, I was quite at a very vulnerable part of my life. I felt really, 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 really ill about 4 years ago. And really, it literally was like less than 90 pounds. And look at me, I
You're already petite. You're already.
I was literally vanishing. And so when I did that test, everything, and they put about 56 different areas of your body tested in, and then after that, they will put it together in about 8 big categories, like cardiovascular, like, integumentary, or you have nervous system or digestion. So about 9 categories, and they will score it against 100. So thankfully, when we did it for Chef B, whatever Chef B, whatever, she was probably one of the best ones I have had. Her scores were up there. Shout out to Dr. K for taking care of it, and that's who are putting in the effort. But the point is, those categories were scored by over 100. And while in my lowest of lowest, being sick, being pumped with all kinds of medicines so that I can be here, and then later on get rid of 1 or 2 at a time, my test did not look good at all at that time. Okay. And it was telling because, I could look great or do whatever I want, but, therein like where was the evidence of what was going on. All kinds of bacteria and, pathogens that I've picked up as a person who traveled the world like crazy, eating street food and experiencing all of it, and doing what I have to do, sleeping God knows how little. And so there was a good correlation there for me. It caused me to have this very powerful thing. Knowing what irritates my body, making sure that I am fully aware of the fact that the effect of that is some form of inflammation, and so making my joints hurt and all of that, and making sure to plan my meals around those so that I don't keep irritating my body with what it doesn't need to have. And I was fine with every vegetable there was on the planet. My body didn't react to any of that, except, black eyed peas. Now, which black person is, I don't know anybody. I haven't met anybody. It's probably me.
That's part of the culture.
That was unbelievable. I was so mad, and I'm still mad about it. The point is, at least I know.
Right.
I can choose other beans.
Exactly.
And keep it moving.
That's right.
How powerful is that? For me, I will be vegetarian for long periods of time, and I might end up eating something or the other. When you're pregnant and you're craving something, whatever, I come back to it. The point is, I made bean cakes every single week with black eyed peas.
Really?
Until I found this out. I didn't realize it's a perfectly good food, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you. Yep.
Now, you wonder, well, are you sure? How do you know? Here's the thing. Most of your insides do not have pain receptors. It's the reason why you don't know what your kidney is doing, unless it's functioning at a very, very, very low percentage, like 15%. It won't tell you. I mean, there'll be signs other ways. It wouldn't tell you by telling you, giving you pain is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Most of your gut will do the same. If nobody really messes with it and fusses with it, you would know. That's the reason why people find they have bowel cancer after it's like stage 4. It doesn't hurt like that. It doesn't give you pain like
Right.
that. Okay. So yes, it may be irritating to you, but your body doesn't have what it takes to tell you that this is what's going on
Right.
unless you actually go look for it.
That's right.
And one of the ways to do that will be this little powerful tool here that I found for myself when I was searching.
Yeah.
And we do this in the office all the time. I had 2 people send out their samples just yesterday in the afternoon alone, because it answers the questions of what to do. And I don't find myself feeling like I'm so good at this that I'll be able to put together all these nutritional differences. I just let it be done. They just then test your samples to make sure you won't be irritated by any of these nutrition that supplements or, homeopathic remedies that they will end up sending you. So we also make sure that it is all nice and clean for you in that sense, so that you can then, circle back and clean those toxins out, whatever molds, you may have, all of these be cleaned out using something that is not, again, going to be irritating to you.
Yeah. And I love what you said, like your body doesn't necessarily tell you. And so I would say that too. I think you're beneficial when you have an allergic reaction to something, because you can see what that particular thing is doing to you. You see it on your skin. So that's a benefit. But when you have intolerances, that's not always how it works. When you have intolerances, the allergy or the reaction is more on the inside, and it's not giving you an opportunity to tell you what's happening, because you just don't have any of the indicators that you would look for, right?
Right.
It's all happening internally. So
Yes.
that's why things like this are very important, because once again, cabbage is awesome, right? Eggplant's awesome. But my son, all of a sudden, he actually gets an allergic reaction when he eats eggplants. Now, we don't give him eggplant. We have that benefit. It might create a stressor in my body,
Yes.
and I don't even know about it. So these things are so good, just so that you know what to stay clear of, because you're not supposed to be eating anything everywhere. Anyway, you think we're supposed to eat everything. You're not supposed to be eating everything anyway.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So this concept always surprises people. I'm going to say it here. So did you know that you are born with all of your ovaries as a woman when you're born, and that you don't grow some more as you go? You just literally use them as you go along, right? Which means my grandkids right now that I haven't met are being carried around in my 3-year-old daughter. Let that sink in. It's a reason why, as physicians, you come to us and we say, do you have a family history of this? Do you have a family history of that? We're trying to see the primary egg carrier and what they had, for which reason we were looking out for this or that. Okay? I always say knowledge, what they say is knowledge is powerful. No, I say knowledge is healing. Because once we figured out, when I was carrying her, what was the state of health I was in? What's going on with that? That right there will influence what's going on with your son and you, right? What we are saying, it might not be that time, it might not be that exactly, but what your reactions may be will be baby sensitivity. But with him, he gets, a whole reaction, right? So we want to make sure that if that was you, then we'll be careful to check for, eggplant sensitivity in, other kids that you may have or whatever. My point being that the environment in which you were born, or the source of DNA that you have, is why that statement you made about you're not supposed to be eating everything anyway is super powerful. And finding out what exactly irritates you creates a very big piece in your health as a whole.
That's right.
So as part of my test also, I found out I was sensitive to almonds. I make almond milk all the time, put dates in there. That thing is frothy as can be. I'm coming to work with it. Well, hello, I was so sensitive to it. So here's the thing. When you think about inflammation, think about it as something that is systemic. Most people, when you get inflammation, maybe this joint hurts, so you think the inflammation went here. No, it did not pass this. And it didn't just come all the way to here and then left the rest of the body. No, it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
There are very few conditions that centers around a particular joint. Something like gout will go to the very lower part of your leg and go to your big toe. That's because those uric acid will end up at the most peripheral or the furthest away from your body. That's why it ends up in that big joint. But besides some of those special cases, inflammation is everywhere.
Yeah.
And when it's bad enough, it's affecting everything. So when you see it here, you ought to believe that it's going on in here as well, and all the places where you don't feel pain receptors. You don't have pain receptors.
Right.
So if we can help ourselves by identifying who we are, what it is that irritates us, and take those out, get to the point where when you take it out, just to make sure you're not craving those, get to somebody like the Chef Bee, do your palate reset so that your situation will calm down with all the cravings that are going on. And then supplement properly, take those things out, exercise properly, get your spine right to make sure that you are better supported and you are better off without your misalignments than you are with them. Then you could be onto something. I love it when doctors come on and say, these 3 foods are not good for you. Take it out of your diet. Half the time, that's true. Most of the time, not for everybody.
Right.
Not for everybody.
Exactly.
Because, peppers are great until you are sensitive to nightshades, and then that wreaks havoc.
Yeah.
And you're good.
And nightshades is not something like, I know people talk about, oh, I don't eat nightshades, but did they find out that nightshades were not for them?
Right.
We did this test for me.
Right.
And it said all vegetables are good for me.
Right.
I just need to be mindful about white flour and wheat flour, which is something that I know I shouldn't eat a lot of anyway because I get a puffy gut.
Right.
But everything else is fine. So should I
Yeah.
not eat nightshades because someone over there did research and say, oh, nightshades are not good? No, that's not the case for everybody. One person's food is the next person's poison. And it's about bio-individuality, right?
Right.
So,
and go ahead.
No, I was just gonna reiterate the idea of all the different components that you just talked about, adjusting, all of these things. That's the next level nutrition.
Right.
It's not just food that you're eating, but it's also the things that you're doing so that whatever food, emotions, things you're consuming, your body receives it better.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, I mentioned earlier I was traveling the world. It was part of my work to do that. But also some of the things I learned while I was doing all of that is that something as simple as, let's just say, you look at a German diet and they have all kinds of sausages and meat and eggs and cheese. And you wonder, how is it that they have only 10% obesity rate, while other places, you look at Italy, they are eating pasta and cheese. Well, let me break it down for you. If you take a single link of sausage, same kind, from Germany, and compare it to the one we have here, we have been trained to have a little bit of sugar in there, a little bit of this in there, a little bit of that in there. Our fruits get so washed off. Some of the enzymes that Chef B was talking about literally lives on the outside of the fruits, right? If we did all things right, all we had to do was just put it under water, rinse it, and we don't need all these other things to clean out weird stuff that we have now added to growing these foods. So at the end of the day, your enzymes are already on the food. The raw food you're eating is making sure that you have the enzymes it takes to digest it, So you take the same diet from different places, and it might be as crappy as it looks, but the source of that food is different. There's a reason why you're not supposed to eat everything, and there's a reason why people who come from a certain area eat certain things and still be okay with it. And so that's the whole point of, you're not supposed to be eating everything anyway. But the point is, even considering the same things from one part of the world to the next, therein lies why you may eat it here and be super sensitive to some things that you're used to eating.
I think just, if you go in other countries too, they really don't eat as much. So I was actually reading a book recently by Jason Fung called The Obesity Code. So this
Uh-huh.
gentleman is a nephrologist, and he does a lot of work with people who have diabetes
Mm.
and really debunking the idea around insulin,
Mm.
and that you shouldn't be giving people insulin if they're insulin resistant, like you're creating more of a problem. Really
Mm.
what you should be doing is not eating as much so that you're not putting as much insulin into the body.
Mm.
So one of the things that he says is, I think it's more like kind of like your hunter-gatherer idea.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter-gatherers weren't snacking per
Mm-mm.
se, right? They were just eating what they could find and
Mm.
then they stopped eating. So he talks about not eating between meals, like just do your 3 meals, don't eat as early in the morning,
Mm.
and you'll be able to manage bringing all that sugar into your system, because
Mm.
most of the things that people snack on anyway is usually hidden sugars. It's just a lot of sugar,
Yes. Yes.
right? And as a result, it's spiking up the insulin levels in their bodies. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's amazing. That's really, really refreshing to hear. I never thought of it that way, but that's great. I'm about to find this guy's book.
Yeah. I'll send it. I'm going to send it to you. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah, I'm about to find this guy. But it makes sense though. It makes sense. Like if you put everything at the level where you think about it as your primitive self, you will do all the right things about life. You're not going to be eating at 9 p.m. You won't be awake at 9 p.m. You went to bed at 6 p.m. when the sun went down,
Right.
right? So you're not snacking. Like the longer I stay awake, the more I want to snack on something.
Yeah.
Let me give you a statistic. I hope I remember all of it. If you add just 50 calories each night or each day, more than you need, and you keep doing that every night, yeah, in a year's time, you would have gained 50 pounds.
Really?
Calculated.
Wow.
And I'm hoping I remember this calculation well. Here's the thing. What does 50 calories look like? It looks like 2 scoops of ice cream with 1 tablespoon of ice cream. Like 2 tablespoons full of ice cream. You're just going to go up, oh, let me just taste this and run up. If you do this every night, let me taste this little piece of cake and run up. You know that little can of soda?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than 50 calories. And the comparison here is that you ought to run about, I don't know, 12 to 15 minutes on the treadmill, just so we can, measure it, for about a speed of, let's say, 6 or 5, 6,
Yeah.
to burn that 50 calories. You're going to have to be on there that long,
Yeah.
30 minutes sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. So just so you're doing it once in a while, you can get away with it. If you make it a thing where every night you're snacking a little bit more before you get to bed,
Yeah.
that's what you're looking forward to. Hopefully you wake up the next day saying, okay, let me walk this off and do something. So that's
Yeah.
always being okay. But yeah, that's the practical measurement of where things are. And I hope that I remember that calculation properly, but that's essentially what we're doing.
And actually, I mean, I think, we're going to wrap up. If you think about folks who are really working out and some of them who are not as toned as they should be, and you look at their diet, they're probably doing a lot more snacking and having a lot more sugars in their diet. And so the amount of workout that they're doing is not adding up to the amount of foods and things that they're eating to keep them nice and chiseled. So you can always tell. So I'm like, yeah, I work out all the time, but they're just not there. They're probably eating a lot more like carbs than they need to, and you're not really getting that physique that you want. So you really have to be mindful. There's a discipline in all of this too, which is what we were interrogating during the palate reset. There's a discipline in how you eat, when you eat, what you eat, and just being mindful about, just even as the seasons change, that those things change for you too, right? All of those things impact your nutrition, right? We talk about seasonal eating because we know that during the changes of the season, the foods that are available to us are impacting our nutrition. They're available for us because that's what we need in that moment, in that season. So next level nutrition is kind of a huge topic. Something like you probably need to do a master class on it.
Right.
But there's definitely these things that we need to be mindful of and considerate of. It's not just food, it's everything, right? And how do you up it so that you can really maximize getting those nutrients that you need so that your body can work optimally, right? All
Right.
right, so that I think that we gave them a lot of good stuff. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, the office is located in Marietta.
Yeah.
Like I said, at the corner of Paris Ferry and Windy Hill, same complex as, Monticello and Mellow Mushroom and all of those. Now, it's 2000 Paris Ferry Road, and the zip code is 30067.
Yeah.
Phone number is always easy to reach us on 770-802-9687.
Yep.
And it's Healthwise Chiropractic.
And that's the site too. Is it healthwisechiropractic.com?
Yes, Healthwise Chiropractic Wellness.com.
Wellness.com. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll give people that information. Yeah. And then also if they want to get the test. So we do have some palate resetters who are not all in Georgia. We have palate resetters who are all over the place. So will they be able to get access to this test if that's something that they wanted to do?
Yes, we can drop ship this to their homes or whatever address they want. And they just have to pay for this online, and we'll send it to them, and they then put it in the mail wherever they are. This is already prepaid. It knows exactly where to go. And so most of the time, within a week, they will send me an email. We've received this, and we're working on it. And so you don't have to be in Georgia. You just call us 770-802-9687, and we'll take your address down, we'll take payments, and then we'll ship this to you.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we definitely want you all thinking about how do you maintain this lifestyle after you finish your reset, because sometimes it is a little challenging. You get so excited, you accomplish something for 10 days, and then you go right back to doing some of the things that you used to do. But we want you to ease back into the flow of your life after the reset and really be intentional about the tools that you're using to stay on the course until the next reset. Because you should always be cleansing, always be cleansing, always be cleansing, right? Dr. Crump,
yes,
ma'am. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Thanks for having me. This was good. This is good chit-chatting. I think we have a lot more to talk about. And so we always, I'm always open to coming back to talk to you about things.
Yes, awesome. All right, y'all, make sure you get your adjustments. Dr. Crump is the bomb. If you have questions about her services, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to share my experience and some of the things that I'm working with her on. All right, you guys, you have an awesome day, and we hope that you enjoyed this
Just before
content.
we sign off, I do have a promotion going on. It's for a short period of time. And if anybody wants to jump on it, that's going to be a good thing. I'm going to offer it to people who listen to Chef Bee. It is going to be a $45 payment for a full x-ray set, so we can see what your structurally looks like. We'll do a physical exam, and then we'll do your very first adjustment in that, all of that for $45. So if you mention Chef Bee's name, you've got it. I know.
That's fancy.
So just make sure you reach out, and if you do, mention Chef Bee's name and that you listen to us, and then we'll honor that, because we already stopped doing all those promotions.
Ooh, look at that. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, it's very comprehensive. So you learn a lot about what's going on the inside when you do that. So thank you, Dr. Crump. What a gift.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Booyah. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you all soon, and happy palate resetting. Kisses and hugs.